Hello, my name is Nick Veach, and I am the author of Vindicating the Opium War, a thoroughly footnoted book that overturns pretty much everything you think you know about the First Opium War. Today, I want to show you that Britain did not fight the war to facilitate the Chinese opium trade. Instead, it banned British participation in the Chinese opium trade 1 year following the conclusion of the war. By the way, the documents I will be showing you are to be found in the Chinese repository, the collection for 1843. It's publicly available here at www.archive.org. Just do a search and you'll find it. For example, let's take a look at this quote from a communication of Hong Kong's first British governor, Henry Pottinger. This is in early January 1843, the war having ended the previous summer. Reading from the document. With regard to the third article of Their Excellencies' memorandum, no British ships will be allowed to visit any other ports than those owned by the treaty, and should any person be detected in attempting to smuggle or trade without paying the established duties, the Chinese government officers will be at perfect liberty to seize and confiscate such goods. The moment these points can be finally settled, they shall be embodied in a supplementary treaty and submitted for the greatest ratification of the sovereigns of both countries. Signed, Henry Pottinger, Governor of Hong Kong. So you can see here that Henry Pottinger has every intention to stamp out smuggling, including presumably that of opium. Note that he wanted to work with Chinese officials to achieve a bipartisan consensus and collaboration to eliminate the opium trade. This also highlights the respect that he had for Chinese officialdom and his full willingness to work alongside them to achieve mutually desired objectives. Now let's take a look at a formal proclamation of Hong Kong's first governor in April 1843. Reading from the document. The plenipotentiary, i.e., this is the governor, hereby intimates beforehand that he will, as far as may be legal, aid and advise the Chinese officers in whatever measures they may adopt to eradicate the evils herein denounced, and especially towards moving all British smugglers and their vessels and boats from the river of Canton. His Excellency further intimates that such smugglers and their boats and vessels will not receive protection in the harbour or waters of Hong Kong. God save the Queen. Dated at the Government House at Hong Kong, this 15th day of April 1843, Henry Pottinger, Her Majesty's Plenipotentiary. As you can see, a key objective of his is to stamp out the British smuggling trade. This remains his ideal. Now, let's take a look at a formal proclamation of the governors in August 1st, 1843. Reading from the document. Proclamation by Sir Henry Pottinger regarding the opium trade. It having been brought to my notice that such a step has been contemplated as sending vessels with opium on board into the ports of China to be opened by treaty to foreign trade, and demanding that the said opium shall be admitted to importation in virtue of the concluding clause of the new tariff, which provides for all articles not actually enumerated in that tariff, passing at an ad valorem duty of 5%. I think it expedient by this proclamation to point out to all whom it may concern that opium, being an article, the traffic in which is well known to be declared illegal and contraband by the laws and imperial edicts of China, that any person who may take such a step will do so at his own risk, and will, if a British subject, meet with no support or protection from Her Majesty's consuls or other officers. This proclamation will be translated and published in Chinese, so that no one may plead ignorance of it. God save the Queen. Dated at the Government House of Victoria, this 1st day of August, 1843. Henry Pottinger. Unable to secure an agreement with the Chinese government, Henry Pottinger unilaterally banned British participation in the opium trade. Surprised? You shouldn't be. Britain's diplomatic corps was drawn from well-to-do families. In other words, they were sufficiently wealthy they could afford to stick to their morals and scruples. In my research pursuant to my book, I don't recall ever coming across government officials who supported the Chinese opium trade, i.e. British government officials who supported the Chinese opium trade. For that matter, Charles Elliot, who was in charge of the first half of the war effort, tried to repurpose British naval vessels as a sort of Chinese coast guard, interdicting the opium trade. The sentiment was all in this direction. So, how did I make this discovery? There were a variety of reasons, but I will simply present one: digitization. In the early 2000s, Microsoft and Google digitized most of the books found in American libraries. So, most of the relevant documents pertaining to the Opium War can be downloaded into PDF files. This enables you to do text searches. Moreover, you're under no pressure to return books to the library, so you can access them at your leisure. Myself, curious to learn more about Henry Pottinger, as there was no biography of the man, I downloaded a copy of the Chinese repository and text search for information about the governor. In the process of reading about him, I stumbled upon his mid-1843 proclamation banning the opium trade. So, why did other scholars not find this proclamation? First of all, it doesn't appear in the standard works on the Opium War written a century or more ago. Second, the proclamation appears 1 year after the termination of the First Opium War. Most authors, I suspect, skip the period between the two Opium Wars, and thus they never have the opportunity to stumble into the proclamation as I did. Anyway, there you have it. Britain banned British participation in the opium trade 1 year following the First Opium War. In other words, it's a misnomer. There was no war fought for opium, i.e. there was no Opium War. In closing, thanks for watching. Thanks for having patience with my inability to pronounce words properly and my terrible habit of mumbling, period. Anyway, if you liked the video, give me a like and subscribe. Have a good one.